Hi, I'm Olav Basoski and welcome to my humble little studio in Amsterdam. I'm going to show you some tricks that happen inside my tracks. Tracks we're going through are going to be Straight Up, Life's a Bitch, and also I Feel So, which is actually a track that I finished last night. So let's go. Okay, so I'm working on a track here. It's gonna be called I Feel So. And what I've actually done is, this is the first track ever I've done in Ableton, actually. But I've bounced all the audio down into different audio files because at this moment I still feel more comfortable arranging the stuff in Logic. But as you can see, I've hardly arranged anything here, so I guess it turned out to work alright anyway for me in Ableton. But what I did do was add this one effect here. I'll play it for you with the track running, with this pitch sweep that starts at an A, and my problem always was to make the pitch go up really high and then end on an A2, and then from that A go down to the lower A again. I never knew how to do this properly with any kind of synthesizer. But I did find a way recently in Logic. I'll play it for you. It's this one here. And normally there's a disco loop in the back, but for copyright reasons I cannot use that right now, but maybe you'll hear it in the clubs one day. So here's the pitch. It goes up and up and up and up. And then as soon as it starts the high A, it goes down again. There it goes. And it goes all the way down to the lower A again. And how I did that was actually pretty simple. What I did was I realized that the EXS24 in Logic had this has this glide function, and if you put the EXS24 on mono and you just make sure your sound. Oh wait, what did I just do? There it is. Your sound in your sample is looped properly, so that it continues to go. What I did was this. I just made sure I found a proper glide value on the front plate for the sampler, and I just I drew all the entire pitch sweeps in like that, because what it does then is it just goes up a note each time, but the glide on the EXS24 is really pretty smooth, so it ends up like this. You see, it's just going from one note to the other, eventually ending at the high A, and then going down again. So you can do this with any sound, actually. You can take a vocal or whatever noise you got and make this nice effect. And I'm sure you can do this with pretty much any capable software sampler. So that's nice. And finally, after 15 years, I found a way to do this. This is the intro of a new release of mine. It's actually out today. Life's a Bitch. And intro beats really show the power of using plugins on your sounds. Because if I take the plugins off, this is what's left. So that's pretty different. And what I did was just EQ them a bit, and then compress the whole thing for a bit of loudness. Then I did something really odd and add a bit crusher to it, which drives it 1 dB over here, and the resolution is down to 8 bits. So it's nice and dirty, and I downsampled it a bit. And then add the vintage warmer for some balls, actually. So that's kind of different from this. So dirty up your beats is my advice. Well, yeah, what I did here was I used Guru for the beats. I think almost everyone is using Guru these days.
Are you using your own custom kits or samples?
I'm a big fan of the old Vengeance sounds, yeah. And you hear a lot of people talk about how gritty or over-processed they are, but they're just perfect for the sound that I'm after. You can actually see I've used a closed hi-hat, a snare, another closed hi-hat, another closed hi-hat, and a bass drum, all from different Vengeance libraries. So, you know, the good thing about those samples is you just drop them in and hardly need to care about the sound anymore, which is nice. It's not the most creative way of making your track, maybe, but you know, it's all I'm after is making the dance floor move. So it doesn't really matter where the sounds come from, as long as they sound good. And what I did on the bass drum here, I see now, is actually use an enveloper, the transient shaper from Logic, to take off a bit of the kick first transients, because they were too spiky. And instead of going through the trouble of finding another kick, I just took a bit off. So it's nice and soft. And a little bit of EQ. I always roll off quite a bit of the low end of kicks. Well, it's pretty broad knowledge at the moment, because it opens up space for I mean, it's all energy in the low end that you don't need anyway. It's you don't hear it. You hardly feel it, so why not just take it off and to make room for more sounds. So that's what I did here. Also used the high pass filter on the Logic EQ. The Logic EQ is really very useful, actually. Sounding good, and it's very versatile, so that's what I use all the time. What I've also done, I've gone through a little bit of trouble of creating all kinds of kits, either from the Vengeance stuff. Actually, if you go beats and drums, there's all kinds of Vengeance kits that I built, just for immediate. How do you say that?
Immediacy, just
yeah, for the convenience of just having all the Vengeance kicks in. There's 10 banks here, and if I just load one up there, the entire keyboard's filled with kick drums. Another thing I'm really happy always with is the Mega Drum kits. It's from an old Akai sample CD, actually, that I bought in 1999, I think, or maybe 2001, and you can just drop it in the EXS24 and they're all laid out for you. And good stuff too. I use those I think every day. And what I always do is I have a couple of buses here. Normally it's 4 or 5, and it's almost always the same. It's my kick drum and my bass on one bus, where compressor sits, where it compresses a little bit, and stuff like the high-end stuff like hi-hats and claps and stuff are on a different channel, also with its own compressor. It's actually sidechained in this particular example. What is this? And here's another, there's a noise sweep in the back that also has its own compressor. And the reason I'm doing that is because at the very end of the producing of the track, I always go outside the box, and I have these 4 summing buses on my TL Audio, which make for a really nice analog tube sound, and I re-record this back into Logic, so that's why I have these 4 buses right here, so I can just work really fast over here, and at the end I just lay them down on their own individual channels.
Do you ever do that multiple times?
No, no.
It's just you always end up 4 to 2.
Yeah, because I only have 4. Well, you have actually you have 5. You have more actually. You have 6 stereo buses here, because you got 2 mono channels, 4 stereo channels, and an effects return. But I don't use any of these except for this channel 1 to record microphone. So what I always do is use these 4 buses here.
But what I was meaning is, do you ever go 4 to 2, like have 8 buses in Logic and do 4 out to 2 and then another 4 out to 2?
No, I got what you meant, but no.
No.
This is just it, and I re-record this in Logic and then level it and limit it, turn up the level, because it really makes for there's something magic about analog sound, analog summing. I mean, there's like a million different forums online and debates on whether it sounds better or I'm not sure it sounds better, but to me it sounds more pleasing anyway to use analog summing, because the low frequencies especially and the really high frequencies, they blend so much easier in analog than on digital, that this spring I decided to get me one of those, and I'm really happy I did. So and you can also plug in an analog compressor. This compressor, I'm not sure if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. It's my Drummer 241. This is my oldest friend. I bought this one in 1991, I think, and it's been used on the master of pretty much all the records I've ever done. So you can plug it in here also and have a bit of that extra analog compression magic on your master, which is really a big difference between actual analog compression or claiming to be analog sounding compressor plugins. There's a big difference, trust me. It's much, for some reason, it comes out much smoother in the analog domain compression. It sounds more natural or something. I'm a big fan of Rob Papen, the Dutch sound design wizard, and there's actually a patch called Dutch Sequence on this one. And I admit it, it's just a preset that I use. But I don't care, I mean the presets are there to use, right? And there's another blue, and there's an albino also, but I'm not sure I used that in this particular track, even though it's there. We should check. No, it's an empty channel, so it's not there. Another blue, and an ES2, the Logic synth.
So what's giving that kind of, is that the ES2 giving that kind of sort of percussive kind of synth sound?
No, that's another sample actually. I I think this is what you mean. Is it this one? No, this is Kit. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's actually a vengeance sound, and I'm not afraid to admit that it's a sample. It's a VEC 3 Sense 146B. I have no clue what library that is from. Probably Vengeance Electro Club. I don't know. Essential Club sounds probably number 3. And there's a huge amounts of synths in there. But the problem with sample CDs or sample banks is that you go through all kinds of sounds in a way like this. You know, you got your snares, and it doesn't play right now, but I'll talk about this in a minute. This is Audio Finder, a really nice program. But so what I did was just make banks of all the sounds. So every vintage, Vengeance sound that I have is actually in banks. So every sound covers the entire keyboard. So I can just flip through through all the banks as if it were a synthesizer. And that's how I came up with this sound. And I use this in this track.
It's really processed as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it is. Let me check that out. Yeah, let me just see what it sounds like without all the plugins. It's not even that much. Well, this is the original one. I took off a lot of the low end, and then a stereo delay, but really small amounts of feedback and mix, just to widen it up a bit. Then the N verb from Logic, really odd working verb that reverses the feedback signal or something. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but it's not doing a thing. Oh wait, the mix is down. I didn't even use it at the end, but and a filter, which is the auto filter is working somewhere in the track. It'll probably in the breaks and stuff. It's not a thing that is constantly on. Oh, there it goes. And a bit of echo. And apparently I needed to drop the level a bit after that I used volume automation on it. So I plugged in the Logic gain plugin. Yeah, so that's that sound. I'm always counting on the Logic swings, because it's just so easy to do, you know. The 16C swing in Logic works well 90% of the time for me. So I almost always use this one. And I know guys who go up till 16E or 16F, but that's way too much for me. I just want a little bit of swing in there, not too much.
So what way around do you usually work in terms of, do you start with a loop and then start arranging that loop out, or?
Yeah, that is the classic way of working for me. Being one of those people who started out on Ataris and Cubase and stuff, I used to just start off with 4 or 8 bars over here and really fill it up with material, and then after that just copy the whole lot and start subtracting stuff, how would you call that?
Yeah.
A whatever, subtracting, okay?
Yeah.
Just taking stuff out. But these days I find that I work much faster if I just make a part, build it up to where it needs another part, and then yeah, exactly. because if you work in the old way, in the way I used to work, you can. It's really easy to get locked in that particular 4 bars, and at the end of the day, have no clue what to do with it. You know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, do that all the time.
Oh, you do that. Well, for me, the answer turned out to be just make whatever tickles you, and then if over here after what is it, 16 bars, I thought it needed something else, so I just thought of something else. In this case, the blue preset, and then well, what is it? 16 bars later, I decided, well, we're gonna do a break here and build up to this part. So that's the way I try to work these days. This is called Straight Up, and it's called Straight Up because the track is really straight up. Starts with a couple of beats, in comes the piano, bit of break, big bass line, more piano, and then well, basically up until the second break, more or less the same. So not really anything spectacular happening here, but what I did do here, and I've done this a lot in the past. I'm not a real big keyboard wizard, but I do know my chords when I hear them. So what I did for this track was I played some chords on the piano. They go like this. There's a filter on there now, but and they're almost like, you know, gospel sounding disco chords. But what I did was, and I've done this a lot in the past, just make up a progression of a 3-note chord, and I'll show you what I mean. If I take these all out, it'll sound a bit different. And what I've done a lot is just copy the whole thing and go up and find another chord that suits the one I already have, and take it from there. After that, maybe take out certain notes. I'm not sure what I've done just now will work, but it won't. But now I'm just really messing it up. Oh, well, this is just, I think this is just an octave higher, yeah. But maybe not a particular good example, but if you find the notes that complement the chords you already have, you can really come up with big sounding chords without them being, without the need of all the knowledge of the classic chords. And that's how I ended up with these here. They sound like this.
Where's your piano sound from on that? Is it?
It's actually a Logic preset. It's from the EXS24. It's just one of the presets that come with Logic. They sampled a big Yamaha grand piano. It's sounding alright. It's not all that special, and I clearly needed some processing to. It doesn't sound like much now unprocessed, but what I did, I used some. Oh wait, probably need to be here. A high pass, then I actually used 2 EQs in a row to get this sound. Wait, over here. And obviously it goes to a big sounding new reverb plugin, actually from the Netherlands, from from a company called 112 dB. They also make an EQ that does really awesome stuff. But this one, they in the reverb, what they tried to do was actually get the sound of the old classic lexicons in a plugin, and they've also named their preset banks accordingly. You know, 300, 480L, and PCM 91 even, and they really sound amazing. The really big sounding reverb without the usual DSP power those plugins take. So this is one of my favorite reverb plugins of the moment. Really sounding big, and I use that on the piano. I think it's just the echo plugin in Logic. Really simple delay plugin. Just lets you set the time, the delay time, how much of feedback you want in the repeat, the color, which is basically just I think it's just a notch filter or a bandpass filter. You can go from deep to thin, and a dry and wet slider, and it makes for a pretty long reverb in this case. And as you can see, what I've done here is actually bus this sound effect to its own bus, which is bus 3, to make sure it doesn't interfere with the beats and the bass and the piano. All of those elements have their own bus again, so that it can be bused to the TL audio to make that open sound. I want to with effects like these, and especially instruments like piano. I like to try and keep things open but still compact. You know, make them glue together, but still open, so that it won't happen when the kick drops that the rest of the track comes up in level, because in the meat of the track the kick is geez, how do you say that? It's getting it's pump from the kick drum. That's what I was after. I'm always trying to make it pump, of course, but not in a way that the kick drum overrules all the other sounds. And as you can hear, the sound effect is really out there in the open, and doesn't affect the rest of the track. There's a lot of open space behind this. I always try to achieve that, to keep it nice and pumping, but still open and wide. Got two bass patches stacked here. One of them is really big for the low end, and the other one is actually it's actually the blue synthesizer, not the Vengeance. I'm not sure why it's called Vengeance here then, but I detuned this a bit to the other bass line, so that it makes for a more lively sound. All sidechained pretty hard to the kick drum, so it gives you this bouncy feel in the So yeah, that's gonna be out soon also, straight up. Well, what I can tell you is one plugin in particular that nobody else seems to be using anymore, which is the Waves C1 compressor, and it has a sidechain version that comes with the bundle when you buy the C1. And what this one does is it only enhances or processes the frequency that you want it to work on. In this case, it's actually a preset called Bass Enhancer, and it gives your master a lot of extra punch, which is nice. Let me take this off, see how it sounds like without. Well, maybe the effect is subtle now, but I'm not sure if you're picking this up. But if I turn on the C1, it gets a lot more bite, a lot more punch, which I couldn't achieve with any other compressor or EQ. I'm not sure if you can hear this. Maybe the effect is subtle on this particular track, but I tend to use this on every final master I do. And then of course the usual suspects, you know, the low cut in the beginning to make sure there's enough room for to prevent it going distorted into the compressor, which does quite a lot in this case, like 4 or 5 dBs. And what I always do is have the compressor on peak, because it's got a completely different sound from a compressor on RMS. There's a lot more bounce in there for some reason. This is nice and calm, and this really moves up and down a bit. And then the C1, and I add the PSP vintage warmer after that with a little bit of knee, little bit of gain reduction. It's like 1 dB, but it makes for so much difference that in my case it's always on there. It's actually the LE version, because the Vintage Warmer 2 gives you much more latency, and we don't like latency. And then of course the peak limiter at the end to prevent it from overloading.